A Treatise of Satan's Temptations. By Richard Gilpin. A Discourse of the Malice, Power, Cruelty and Diligence of Satan. Third and last part of chapter 9. Saul's prophesying, 1 Samuel 18:10, was by the influence of the evil spirit. And this, as Junius, Tyrannus, and others interpret, must of necessity be understood, of such a kind of action, and speaking as the true prophets of the Lord, usually expressed under the influences of the blessed Spirit. For from the likeness of the action in both, must the name be borrowed. The experience that we have of inward disputings, the bandying of arguments and answers in several cases, is a proof of this beyond exception. Wounded consciences express an admirable dexterity, in breaking all arguments, urged for their peace and establishment, as also in framing objections against themselves, so far above the usual measure of common capacities, that we cannot ascribe it to any other than Satan's private aid this way. Fourthly, the motion being made, if there be need, he doth irritate, and stir up the mind to the embracement of it. And this he doth two ways. First, by an earnestness of solicitation, when he urgeth the thing over and over, and gives no rest. When he joins with this an importunity of begging, and entreating with the repeated motion. When he draws together and advantageously, doth order a multitude of considerations to that end. And when in all this he doth hold down the mind and thoughts, and keep them upon a contemplation of the object, motions, and reasons. Thus he provoked David, 1 Chronicle 21:1. And this kind of dealing occasioned the apostle, to name his temptations and our resistance, by the name of wrestlings, in which usually, there appears many endeavors and often repeated, to throw down the antagonist. Secondly, he doth irritate by a secret power, and force that he hath upon our fancies and passions. When men are said to be carried and led by Satan, it implies, in the judgment of some, more than importunity. And that though he cannot force the spring of the will, yet he may considerably act upon it by pulling at the weights and plummets, that is, by moving and acting our imaginations and affections. Fourthly, the motion being thus made, notwithstanding all his importunity, often finds resistance. In which case he comes to the practice of a fourth rule, which is to draw away and entice the heart to consent, as it is expressed, James 1:14, every man is tempted, when he is drawn away and enticed. I shall avoid here the variety of the apprehensions, which some declare at large, about the meaning of the words, satisfying myself with this, that the apostle points at those artifices of Satan, by which he draws and allures the will of man, to a compliance with his motions, which when he effects in any degree, then may a man be said to be prevailed upon, by the temptation. But then here is the wonder, how he should so far prevail against that reason and knowledge, which God hath placed in man to fence and guard him, against a thing so absurd and unreasonable as every sin is. The solution of this knot, we have in 2 Corinthians 4:4. The God of this world blinds the eyes of men, draws a curtain over this knowledge, and raiseth a darkness upon them, which darkness, though we cannot fully apprehend, yet that it is a very great and strange darkness may be discovered. 1. Partly by considering the subject of it, man, a rational creature, in whom God hath placed a conscience, which is both a law, and witness, and judge. It cannot be supposed an easy matter to cloud or obliterate that law, to silence or pervert that witness, or to corrupt that judge. But it will rise higher in the wonder of it, if we consider this in a godly man, one that sets God before him, and is wont to have his fear in his heart, such a man as David was, that in so plain a case, in so high a manner, so long a time, with so little sense and apprehension of the evil and danger, Satan should so quickly prevail. It is an astonishment, neither will it be less strange if we consider. 2. The issue and effect of this blindness. Some rise up against this law of conscience, arguing it false and erroneous, and making conclusions directly contrary, as Deuteronomy 29:19, I shall have peace, though I walk on in the imaginations of my heart. I have fellowship with him, though I walk in darkness, 1 John 1:6. We will not hearken unto thee, but will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth out of our own mouth, Jeremiah 45:16, 17. In which cases the sigma upsilon nu tau rho eta sigma iota sigma, or principles of conscience, are quite overthrown. Some are hardened, and as to any application of their acts to this rule, quite dead and senseless. Though they rise not up against the light, yet are they willingly ignorant, without any consideration of what they are doing. Here the sigma upsilon nu epsilon delta eta sigma iota sigma, or witnessing and excusing power of conscience, is idle and asleep. Some, though they know the law, and in some measure see their actions are sinful, yet they pass no judgment, apprehend no danger, no man smites upon his thigh, saying, What have I done? Jeremiah 8:6. Nay, some are so far from this, that they presumptuously justify themselves, though they see their own blame and ruin before them. I do well to be angry, and that to the death, saith Jonah, when Satan had spread a darkness upon him. What shall we say of these things? Here is darkness to be felt, Egyptian darkness. To explain the way of it fully is impossible for us. To do it in any tolerable way is difficult. To make some discovery herein I shall, 1. Show that the devil doth entice to sin by stirring up our lust. 2. That by the power and prevalency of our lust he brings on the blindness spoken of. Thanks.